like 80% unemployment because of COVID, and our schools have been closed for 2.5 years. And they'll just go, all right, Biden's sending you guys another $10 billion. And then all the Republican states are just going to keep paying for that until eventually they decide to leave. This might flip your math on which states contribute to which states.
Oh, no, New York is still the superior state, and we'll get onto this. Oh, another thing that stopped. So not only the riot stopped, but after Biden was inaugurated, Black lives stopped mattering. For those of you, it's time is kind of a fog, but you may remember that starting from the summer of 2020 out all the way into the fall, Black Lives Matter was in everything. All the services you use, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, they all were doing the black icons, black logos, blackout status bars, watch black movies, listen to black music. For a brief moment, America was 80% black and 13% white. You know, and then
man. No comment on that.
Right, all the media you consume. I mean, you know, this is a kind of a favored meme in the black community. Strictly speaking, almost all music Americans listen to like descends from black music, but also all humans descend from black people. So this doesn't really say much. But, you know, for a while, I mean, we were saturated with black media and black products, black-owned businesses on Grubhub.
And then at the same time, I feel like this was the weakest Black History Month we've ever had.
Yes, this was a relatively weak Black History Month. But importantly, all that stuff ended on January 21st. Every app you use, every streaming service, every social media site, it was on either January 20th or January 21st. All of them, basically at once, decided that it was okay to stop clapping for Stalin. They all, Black Lives finished mattering. White people were on the front page of Etsy again.
This is the part I don't get, Marcel. And I know you're not the guy to talk to about this, but for the person that is the sort of woke black guy who takes all this stuff at face value and says, oh yeah, we need to have, this is a good thing that Netflix took all of the movies that were already on its streaming service, did not buy any new properties or anything. It just took ones that were already there and just repackaged them to try to get more clicks on them. They go, hey, here are 25 black movies that we already had. We didn't expand our selection for you. We just put them under a heading.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand how someone who at the same time, as they say, we live in this racist society and everything's against us and white people are creating a lab by Yakub and all this stuff, right? And this is the world they live in where everyone knows that the federal government is basically the Klan, all the state governments of the Klan, everything's the Klan, and it's always 1962 and whatever, right? And any minute the horses are going to come running through. Then Netflix goes, hey, we took Luke Cage and we put a little logo on it that said BLM. And they go, oh, great. Right? And then the next day Netflix just goes, yeah, Biden's president. We don't give a fuck anymore. We're taking that category down. And they don't go, oh, yeah, they never cared at all. Because then the next time Netflix does it, they go, yeah, nice, cool. There's just no, it's literally Lucy with the football, but it would be if what Lucy did was say, hey, here's the football. He goes to kick it. They pull it away. Then she doesn't wait till the next time she sees him. She just puts the football right back up and goes, kick it again, pulls it away, kick it again, pulls it away, then puts it up and says, I'm going to pull it away. Pulls it away and then points at nothing and says, kick. And he still kicks. At what point do you just go, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, that's a thing that we also need to recognize about our system is that even though all the trappings of the system seem to say we are all about giving blacks what they want, blacks also don't really get what we want.
And you guys never stop complaining about that. So that's the dichotomy that I don't understand. Is on the one hand, it's a constant complaint that we don't get what we want, but then also if I say the system, if I say I'm against taxes or I'm against the government, that's
because we do
racist,
get one thing
even though those same people will say the government. So the government is a racist institution, but if I don't like the government, that's because I'm racist.
Yep, Democrats, real racist. Yeah, this is not a good line of
So
persuasion
like
anyway. But the important thing to recognize, Dan, is that it's not important ultimately that blacks get things as long as whites don't get things, right? Putting black faces on the front of all those social media things, it wasn't about like blacks feeling better about themselves. I can't even really imagine being a black person in America who sees that, like, you know, Do the Right Thing or whatever is listed on the front page of Netflix, and
Which it
feeling
wasn't,
like
they would have had to get the rights to it. So they Netflix isn't going to do that. That would have been
okay,
actual.
Black Panther is on Netflix. You know, I can't really imagine being a black person who sees Black Panther on Netflix and like feels a little dopamine hit, like America cares about me. But it is a humiliation ritual for whites, right? It is, you know, it's like a psychic assault on whites that when they open up all these things and they see all this stuff, and it's like a message like, hey, you know, you're a bad person, and ultimately this is a punishment for you, right? Blacks don't feel better, but you feel worse. And
I think that makes sense because
I'm one thing I won't say though, you know, just to like some people who listen to this might think, oh, Marcel, you're really far gone off the deep end. But really, blacks don't feel like this kind of sadism towards whites. And the way we know that this is true is because you can see the polling data on like support for affirmative action, where, you know, 90% of blacks or whatever support affirmative action, or it goes from very strongly to only strongly when the question emphasizes the fact that jobs may be taken from or denied to white people, right? So it's like, black people, how do you feel about like the government forcing whitey to give you a job? And all of them say, of course, yes, great. And say, how do you feel about the government taking a job from a white guy and giving it to you? And like a lot of them will say, of course, that's great. But like, you know, not nearly as enthusiastically. There is one group that actually supports it more when they hear that whites will lose jobs. I'm not going to say what that group is, but by the numbers, there's actually a group that when they hear that there's like, how do they support affirmative action? And then when they hear like, how do you feel about taking jobs from whites and giving it to blacks? They actually have a higher level of support for it.
Yeah, that actually I think is the only way to make sense of it, because this touches into another point, that it's about envy. Yeah. And Helmut Schurk, he's a good German name, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he wrote a book called Envy. That is one of those books that the libertarians are supposed to read, but no one reads. Well, I read it. And one of his main points about envy is that there's a sort of jealous, like if I'm jealous of you, I want what you have. But if I'm envious of you, I am so upset that you have it and I don't, that I would just be happy if you didn't have it, even if I don't have it. So if you have more money than me, an envious person would be just as happy if you lost it all, even if it meant they were worse off, just because they're just trying to stick it to you. And I've always wondered why it is that the sort of LGBTQ agenda seems to be the same thing, where it's like, we need the government to tell us that our marriage is acceptable. And if you go, well, how about this compromise where you get all the exact same rights, but we just don't call it marriage, just like as a face-saving thing. And then they're like, no. And I always used to think, well, why do they care? Why do the same people that are alienated from modern society, mainstream society, care if that mainstream straight society validates their sexual choices? And I think that makes more sense. It's not really about them getting validation of their sexual choices from people that they despise, because why would you want that? It's about them rubbing their nose in it.
Yeah, marriage is a patriarchal, racist institution. Also, we want to do it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Why? Now, I used to think, oh, maybe it's because they want acceptance. They want to feel like. I never understood why they wanted the same society that they feel like hates them to love them and to say you're valid and your choices are valid. I never got that, because to me it's like that shows so little self-respect. Why wouldn't you just say, I don't want your acceptance, I don't care? So I think maybe it makes more sense that it's not that they want acceptance, it's that they just want to, stick it to that society by saying, oh, you think we can't get married? You think marriage is this great sacred thing between you and your God and your wife? Ha! Me and my husband we're gonna do it. We're gonna make a mockery of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite go that far. I don't think gays are trying to
But can it be both?
I mean, it could be.
I definitely see some of them who have a pathological feeling.
Hatred
I need to be. So I see some of them where it's like they feel like they're alienated and they need to be accepted, and they need all these symbolic things. It's like they need the government and to tell them, or the society to tell them through the government, which they equate as the same thing, that like you're valid. Your marriage is just as good as anybody else's, and your choices are the same, and you're lovely and beautiful, and your dad may not have loved you, but I love you. And then at the same time, there seems to be some aspect of it where it's like they just, maybe on a subconscious level, it's like, well, if you get to have marriage, we want to have it too, just because you shouldn't get to have things for yourself.
I won't say no. I won't say none of them feel like that. But I do think it's just a matter of wanting. I think it is a genuine desire to have it for themselves if other people have it, than a desire to corrupt that which other people have. Have you read the Time article talking about the secret campaign to secure the 2020 election?
They always do this.
Yeah,
it's denied. You're crazy. You're conspiracy theory. You're QAnon. Of course we did it. Everyone knows that. It was good. And why even mention it?
Well, here they're not celebrating like a vote rigging effort. Like the thing they're doing, the thing they're celebrating is not exactly the thing conservatives said they did. So it's not the same, right? Because here they're bragging about, the online censorship, changing the rules on the voting, getting judges to reject certain challenges, and to remove oversight on the mail-in votes, and so on and so forth. Voter ID requirements. They basically talked about all the ways they made it harder to stop fraud, but they didn't celebrate the fraud proper. It is really something. What really gets me is they don't call it rigging; they call it securing the election, or no, fortifying the election, as if fortifying is different from rigging, when in fact the literal definition of rigging is to fortify. Right. I think people think the word rig means to secure. When I accuse you of rigging an election, I am indeed accusing you of securing or fixing the outcome. Right. Rigging means fortify. Rigging means securing. Right. A ship and its sails have rigging. You don't rig a ship so it works worse. You rig a ship so it stays the way you want it to stay.
Yeah.
But so this absurd,
it's we're just using a different word that doesn't have those connotations.
Yeah.
But you're saying the same thing. It's just playing with the language.
Yes. Which is the favorite thing of Shit Lives to do, is to just, that word has an association that I like or don't like, so let's just toy around with it. And then you can just okay, listen, we're just euphemism treadmill. There's a reason. It's just like the word retarded, right? You're going to keep saying you fortified the election. Guess what we're going to start calling cheating, right? We're going to say, hey, you're fortifying the election, right? Or shoring up the election. Hey, he's trying to secure the vote outcome. That's fine. It's just going to start to mean what it's supposed to mean, right? All the emotional connotations are going to swim on over to where it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, it's like saying we're not progressives, we're liberals. We're not liberals, we're progressives.
Yeah, okay,
you just call it that, and then 3 weeks later, everyone goes, "Oh, it means shit. It means the same thing."
Yeah, liberals do it all the time.
Better.
They do it
this
with
is
words.
New Coke.
Yeah, prejudice versus racism. They do it with woman, with the word art. It's listen, I'm just gonna you can do this, and I'm just gonna start. I can either start speaking in roundabout words. I can just use German compound
really
words.
Stupid thing that works for an hour, and then everyone goes because you go, no, I'm not a liberal. I know you guys are trained to think liberals are bad. I'm a progressive, and then they go, oh, okay, so that's different then.
Yeah,
and then a week later they realize, oh, it's just the same word, different word for the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not a State Department socialist. I'm a neoconservative.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist.
Right. All right.
And for an hour, it works. You go, oh, okay. Well, let's hear them out.
This must be something different.
It's something different.
No, that's a
And
thing.
then very shortly you realize it's the same, and then you're just right back where you started from, but now you have